Greetings all, hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining me for this conversation. We're going to chat about the Aries full moon coming up on the 7th of October when this video will be released, and the energy of this month, as well as some of the deeper archetypal energies and lessons surrounding it. Now, for those of you who've been with me in my community, following this channel for a while, I'm doing things a little bit differently. I thought I'd record the conversation separately and then offer the guided sound meditation as its own piece of content that can live in a library that doesn't have an expiration date. I don't want people to feel like the sound meditations are specifically connected to the particular video about whatever the new or the full moon is that we are talking about. Now, the videos, the guided sound meditation, do carry the essence of the full moon in this example, the archetypal energy of Aries being the warrior, the great I am, the soul embodied, expressing the radiance of that soul light, being able to shine and expand out. But working with that I am energy is something we can do at any point, that we can return to, so that we continually cultivate and expand our radiance. It's not specific to this window of time. So I hope this new format serves. And I will drop a link to that video below. Anyway, without any further ado, I wanted to chat to you about the full moon and some of the energy at the moment. And I really wanted to start with eclipse season, where we have just come out of. We spent September in eclipse season, and to me it felt like it opened up with the Virgo new moon on the 23rd of August. Virgo is an earth sign, and that new moon opened up eclipse season, and the full moon lunar eclipse was in Pisces, which took place on the 7th of September. And then the solar eclipse, which is a new moon, was also in Virgo, which took place on the 21st of September. So this Virgo energy kind of bookmarked and created edges for that Pisces energy in between. Now, collectively, we've been working with the Pisces Virgo energy for this entire year. The north and south nodes of the moon are on this axis at the moment. The north node of the moon is in Pisces, and the north node represents our dharmic future, where we are collectively evolving towards together, whereas the south node of the moon is our karmic past, what we are letting go of to make space for that evolution. And the south node of the moon is in Virgo. We're at 18 degrees now, so we're just about over the halfway point of this evolution. So a lot of us might have been feeling this eclipse season a lot more intensely because we are doing the collective work. Now, Pisces, where the north node is and what we are evolving into, is the last sign of the zodiac. It represents the mystic, it represents transcendence, it represents unconditional love, it represents our unity and oneness and dissolving boundaries, going beyond the limits that we put on ourselves to step into and embody more of that sense of connection and interconnectedness with life, remembering ourselves as one with the all, remembering ourselves as divine, and going beyond the limits of mind to experience and express the fullness of the consciousness living within us. Now, some of the shadow of Pisces is this energy of overwhelm, because when we become the ocean, we become diffuse and porous, and we tend to not know where our own boundaries and edges are. So we become more emotionally sensitive to all the feels in the ocean, and this can lead to overwhelm or compassion exhaustion. What's that phrase that people are using? And we tend to take on too much. We can turn into a martyr or go into escapist or victim tendencies, and lose touch with our personal sovereignty. And that Virgo energy, which represents earth, represents the healthy edges we get to create. I like to think of it as a glass. The edges of the glass allow water to take form, allow it to land. Earth, which is the element of Virgo, allows for water to exist on earth. It creates ground, and the edges of that water defines whether that body of water is an ocean, a river, a stream, a lake, and those edges are important. So on one side, we want to dissolve boundaries that don't serve so that we can hold more water. And on the other side, we want to create healthy edges so that we can define ourselves as individuals holding that water. Now, in mystical terms, water represents consciousness, and the waters of our bodies, which our bodies are made up of over 70% water, hold consciousness, hold energy. And our skin represents those edges. Our skin represents the earth that allows consciousness to have a vessel within which to move through life, to experience and to express and to evolve into its next iteration. And sometimes it evolves beyond its boundaries. It outgrows its limits. So that's why we have to be open for our edges to dissolve when it is time. Now, my constant prayer, for example, is how can I hold more love? And I imagine my body being the glass in the hands of the divine, holding it gently in the hands of the divine, pouring that love into my cup. The divine also drinks of what it pours in there. I've explained it this way in my guided sound meditation gatherings, and people have found it helpful. I like to think of that eclipse season, that energy of Pisces, which was a full moon, so a completion, being the divine or the higher consciousness, symbolically emptying the cup. Now, if I ask for more love, if that love is poured into a dirty glass, will I get the pure taste, the pure flavor of love, or will it be tainted by what's already in the glass, which might be my limiting beliefs of what love is, my programs and conditioning that says that you have to prove yourself worthy of love, or you have to be pretty enough to be loved, you have to have good grades to be loved, you have to be funny enough, smart enough, or whatever it is. So that Pisces full moon eclipse really felt like an emptying out and a deep clean and purge of the glass so that what is ready to be poured in can be a pure representation of that which we ask for. That can feel intense. I most certainly know that because, as humans, we like to understand what's coming. We like to be in the knowing. We are uncomfortable with change and the unknown, but it's in the unknown that we experience the miraculous. If we are constantly in the know, then we are just repeating the past. So I hope that visualization helps you to understand and kind of make sense of what's been going on. Our glass has been emptying so that we can make room for what we want to have. Now, there's a few things I wanted to share about that energy of Pisces. Like, for example, a lot of us don't have a true understanding of unconditional love, a true understanding of compassion. Some of us, and I know this for myself, may have the belief that compassion means that we have to bend over backwards, that we have to fully sacrifice ourselves to prove ourselves compassionate. But this isn't the truth of compassion. Sometimes the most compassionate thing we can do is share a sacred no. That not only creates those healthy edges for us to be able to be more compassionate, but it also gives people permission to share their sacred no as well. There's some very fascinating research on compassion, and the research interviewed some of the most compassionate people on the planet. So spiritual teachers like the Dalai Lama, and a thread they all had in common when they were asked about how they're able to be so compassionate. The thread is that they each said they had very healthy boundaries. They, respected those boundaries. And what those boundaries created was an ability to give from overflow. When we don't have healthy boundaries, we give from exhaustion. We give from an empty cup. And what's in the empty cup? Just the dregs, the leftovers, which can create a sense of resentment. So we are collectively learning, what is unconditional love? Does it mean that I have to fully sacrifice myself? What does it mean to be part of the all? Does it mean I have to have absolutely no boundaries? Well, this eclipse season with the bookmark of Virgo on either side said, no, we have to create healthy edges. So that we can define who we are and share from a full cup. If there's no edge and source is pouring, it's just pouring into a puddle, which doesn't really serve anyone. When we have healthy edges, we can fill the cup and then overflow and give, be in service, Virgo, from that place of fullness instead of from that place of exhaustion. And Virgo represents service ultimately. It represents the physical body, and it reminds us of the importance of having a very healthy vessel, physically, emotionally, mentally, so that we can give to others from fullness and overflow rather than from a feeling of emptiness, which doesn't serve at all. As all the flight attendants say, you have to put on your mask first so that you can help another. And that's kind of the theme, how I've seen this eclipse season, really learning to define our healthy edges so that we can give from fullness, so that we can fill our own cup and experience the pure thing we want to call down, and then give from that purity. So moving on to the Aries full moon coming up on the 7th of October. Interestingly, Aries, which is a fire sign, is the first sign of the zodiac. So the first sign of the zodiac represents fire, and that fire represents the soul, the great I am, coming down as a fragment to express and experience life through this vessel. So we have that earth energy of Virgo that creates definition and holds the water, and in mysticism, water, and in astrology, water represents consciousness, and our bodies are made up of 70% water, so the waters of our body hold consciousness, and the earth give it edges, and the edges create shape in which the water can be held. And then you can imagine the waters representing the waters of womb. The fire, the soul, comes into the waters of womb, and it is in those waters that it can grow and be birthed from. So we've created this vessel, we've created a cup that can hold the water of consciousness, and now the soul can descend. And that Aries full moon represents us holding our great I am, becoming those warriors, filling our cup with our soul energy so that we can express the fullness of our soul and what it has come here to share, to experience, to give to life, to learn, and to evolve from. So this full moon astrologically doesn't have many aspects, but it is a representation of integration. This month of October doesn't have very big astrological aspects coming up, but it is an opportunity, a window of time in which we can take all that we've learned during eclipse season and allow it to integrate and solidify those edges and create healthy definitions so that our soul can have a healthy vessel to express from. That Aries energy represents our independence, our courage, our instinct, our desire to be entrepreneurial, to go out into life and to live fully from the fire of the soul, from the energy and the vitality and the life force that has descended into the body. So in this full moon meditation, we work with activating the fire. We work with activating our radiance and sending it out from our three dantians, the three centers, the three brains in our body. We work with the head, the heart, and the gut. Now, in a lot of spiritual traditions, there are the trimukti, the concept of the triplicity. When we connect thought with feeling, with action, and bring them into harmony, that's when we can start creating miracles. That's when we align to the energy of possibility. In the Buddhist tradition, it is a connection between body, speech, and mind, and bringing those into harmony so that we can function from a place of balance, harmony, equilibrium, and alignment. And when those energies are in alignment, we can use the full force of their potential to express outwards. So we work with activating those centers and with releasing anything in the field that feels like is making our light muddied. It's taking away from our vibrancy, releasing the layers that make us feel trapped so that we can express the fullness of our light. Generally, the theme of October is about learning to embody all that we learnt in eclipse season. So perhaps taking a moment for yourself to reflect on some of the themes that came up that might be relevant to you, perhaps some of what I've mentioned, and looking at how you can redefine your vessel, how you can redefine, expand your cup, how you can create healthy edges, how you can purify the waters of your body by perhaps releasing anything more that needs to be let go so that the soul light can descend and express fully so that it can grow in the waters of womb, in the content of your glass, and evolve into your great I am and express in its most authentic way through you. I hope this served. I'll drop a meditation link below. Let me know if that resonated with you in the comments. Sending you all the love.